Welcome to Edge Radio Australia. Absolute pleasure to be here. Feeling very much like the thorn between a couple of absolutely gorgeous roses. Really do. It's not a good feeling. Okay, it's not good for my self-esteem. Sorry.
You might get prickled.
I could get, people have called me similar. I'm going to throw obviously straight to the introductions, but of course this is the Genius Zone. We have a couple of geniuses here. Somebody here is kind of in the middle who's pretty keen to become one day, working on it, work in progress.
Work in progress,
yeah.
yes.
So, Terry, would you like to do the intros?
You love being humble.
Humble.
You are humble. I must say that is one of your attributes,
Thank
Aaron.
you. All
and
right.
thank you for the introduction. And let's kick off about, what this show is going to be all about.
Yes.
And it is going to be on the topic of neuro-linguistic programming. And over here, to Aaron's right, is that right or is
That's
it left?
correct. Definitely
Yeah,
right.
okay. So to Aaron's right, we have the beautiful Eloisa. Now, Eloisa, you are a counsellor.
Yes.
You also have an honours in psychology.
I do, yes.
And you are now adding to your toolkit
I am.
with neuro-linguistic programming.
Indeed.
And, you had a bit of an experience. So firstly, let's can I ask you a question? And
Please.
then I'm going to let you ask some questions. And
Okay,
I
yes.
believe Aaron's going to have questions as well.
Amazing.
Because we've got quite a few that have come in about the power of NLP.
Yeah.
So what made you become a counsellor in the beginning? Was
Ooh.
there an element around your own personal journey?
Very interesting. I mean, look, it definitely comes in the process of learning how to become a counsellor. I think, well, I started with psychology. So I studied that degree and it was proving to be very difficult. So I did it for a year.
Okay.
Stopped that, and then I started working in the industry at the Mental Health Association, and then I started working with different policy makers and different kind of organizations were in there as well, just working through, consumer health, different initiatives in mental health. And then because I was working with people, I think I just realized I'm pretty good at connecting and having this kind of non-judgmental space. And so
you found your genius zone.
I think I just found the genius zone that way. I don't think it was.
All right, show's over. That's all we need to know.
Yeah,
Job done.
totally.
That was easy.
It wasn't so much about my story that made me want to become a counsellor. It was more realizing that there was something that I was able to do. And I then I had this mentor at the time and he suggested that I start the counselling degree.
Wow.
So I
A
did.
good mentor is so incredible, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
changes your life.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
He did. He wasn't even a mentor per se. He was he worked in a recruitment company. So I actually found him through that process, and then
I would
helped
normally
me
never take
get
advice
that.
from HR. But all right, fine. Okay.
But I know. Well, he was probably just a special one out of the bunch.
Yeah.
But I think he saw how I was working, and he
That's
got me that
amazing.
job.
Yeah.
And then it was just he just kept following the journey with me, and
Yep.
then he was like, "You need to do this."
Oh, that's so good.
So that's
and
how
as a counsellor and obviously having an honours, and go you, that's
Thank
absolutely
you. Very cool.
phenomenal.
Thank you.
I remember my late husband Ian said, if any of our kids come home and announce after they leave school that they're going to study psychology, let's duck for cover. Because he had a theory.
I have the same theory. Okay.
It's like that as well, actually.
And guess
now that
what?
you're saying this.
His youngest son, come home and said, I've decided what I'm going to study, psychology. We both looked at each other. Failed as parents. No, just joking. No, but it's interesting how, what perfect family is there? They say
none.
that
Doesn't exist.
there's no way that people, any parent, even the best and the best of parents are going to make mistakes.
Yes.
But interestingly, you now are learning the art of NLP.
Yes.
How are you finding that as opposed to counselling? Let's say,
Yeah,
for
well,
example?
I think there's a very different approach with NLP. It's using metaphysical energy, so it's not so direct. It's using the subconscious, and because of that process, it's subtle and it's not about just speaking to the client and, asking open-ended questions, it's visualizing, it's going
Right.
into it's retrieving information in a very, very different way.
Yes.
And that's what's drawing me to it, because I think there's so much creativity that we don't use, so much of our imagination that we don't work with, and we just kind of get so stuck in these little constructs that have happened through life.
Yes.
But NLP unlocks that, and it moves it away, and it brings us closer to this actual reality that we're in. So
it breaks through. It breaks through so many of those limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And I believe that we've got some questions.
We do. Do you want to get straight into questions?
Yeah, let's get straight
Can't we
into
just
it.
get to know each other?
No.
Always down for that
No
as well.
time for that.
No time for that.
No time.
Go
Okay.
straight in
Yeah,
for
let's
it.
go in.
Here's the boss. What can I say?
Let's go. Let's go.
Have a look at what we've got on the
Yes.
screen here. So here we go. What happens to the brain at a subconscious level in NLP as opposed to the conscious level in counselling?
Okay, so this is a question for both of us. So
Amazing.
I'm going to answer it
Sneaky person has not put their name on
from
it.
a NLP.
Yep.
I'll answer it from an NLP point of view.
Yeah, amazing.
And you can kick off by, saying how counselling is more at a conscious level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how would you say, is it more talk therapy with counselling?
Yeah. So, I mean, counselling has so many different types.
Mhm.
The counselling I work with is, I absolutely love the therapy I work with.
Okay.
I work with dialectical behavior therapy.
Wow.
So that's a very skills-based.
What is that?
Yeah.
I know.
like,
So
can
the
you even say it?
the dialectic,
No.
it's a really amazing therapy. But what it is the dialectic of something is its opposite. So what we're trying to do is help people move beyond whatever their trigger point is.
Yep.
So say, it's anger. Say every time they feel like they've been threatened, they go into an aggressive, impulsive state. So dialectical behavior therapy, the dialect of anger would be, let's say, kindness. Ideally, they get there, but the reality is we find something in the middle. It's a synthesis, right, between anger and kindness. That's kind of how we fit.
So it's like a balance.
So it's finding this balance. So the motto is like it's a scale. It's like this scale, but it's also this idea of building a life worth living.
Okay.
And so DBT is giving you skills. It's helping you build an internal locus of control. So not an external one where it's about how others make you feel.
Yes.
How others validate. It's about you validating yourself, but it's skills based. It's very cognitive, very cerebral.
I love cognitive CBT. I think that's
So it comes from
best.
CBT, but then it brings in mindfulness. So it brings in Buddhism, and that's what dialectical. That's what the whole idea. So it's using this very non-attachment, intentional focus. But in saying that, does it tap into the subconscious? Perhaps over time it does, because you're practicing skills and you're practicing different ways of approaching life and figuring out who you are. NLP, though, the difference there is that's happening very, very quickly.
Very quickly, and cutting through the red tape.
Cutting through. So I'd love to know about the difference here. We love it.
Come on.
So give it to us, Terry.
Give it to us. Okay.
There
used to be a saying, I think it was from the founders of NLP, that Bandler had a black belt in Gestalt therapy.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea. So when you have a black belt in Gestalt therapy, you can whip the heck out of something, get rid of it, annihilate it. However, the person's got to be willing and willing to say, yes, I'm going to do that. And with the subconscious, what you're doing is you're bypassing the logic and the conscious part of the brain, because if the conscious part of the brain is active, there'll be judgment. So they'll be judging, they'll be looking, and they'll be looking for issues. So one of the things we teach in NLP is the Milton model. Now, the Milton model is formulated by Milton Erickson, and he was the greatest hypnotherapist in the world.
I thought he made mobile phones.
Oh, okay. No,
Different
it
ones?
sounds a bit like that, doesn't it? So, with
showing my age.
so the Milton model actually teaches you how to bypass that part of the brain so that the person can begin to go deep into their subconscious. And really, you know what the subconscious is? It's your imagination.
Right.
So whatever you have in your imagination is a reality. Like, have you ever had a dream?
Many.
Okay. Have you ever had a dream and it was so vivid? My daughter had a dream the other night, so vivid. She dreamt I died. Now, she hadn't seen me for a long time.
It's a bit dark.
It was. And she rang me up and she said, Mum, I've got to see you. And I'm like, hallelujah. Like, what's happened here?
Yeah.
She had a dream. So that is the subconscious in action. So when the person wakes from a dream, they have actually gone out and experienced it. So they feel what they feel. So they have gone through. And I know that in some counselling rings, I remember there was a pastor who was trying to bring a couple back together again whose their marriage had broken down. And he tried it on with, you're going to have a dream. And that dream is you're going to remember what it was like when you first met. And it's going to reawaken that element of how you felt with each other and, you know, all of those elements. So, you know, it is really the element of bypassing. That would be the answer to that
Moving your own
question.
timeline.
Yes.
Yeah. But do you have any question around that might go deeper?
Well, I mean, in that, from my experience so Terry and I are training and I'm getting to really understand it and learning these different techniques, and the technique of seeing the timeline in front of you and then being able to physically, like, I mean, it's physically in the imagination, shift it by moving it behind and then developing this clarity. Like that happened when you took me through that in a matter of moments.
Seconds. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was there.
So, yes.
I saw this
you were
happen.
a witness, Aaron. You were there.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Like, honestly, I haven't seen the NLP done that way in front of me before.
It's the imagination.
And you just clicked, didn't you?
It was a massive shift.
Yeah. They say that all problems are problems of imagination. So are solutions.
Okay.
There you go.
Can I come in with a question here about this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I don't know who to face on this one because
That's okay.
Right. You're talking about dreams earlier, right? And we're talking about timelines. So when I was younger, my dreams used to be like a Hollywood movie, in as much as the dream's doing its thing, as every dream does, I guess. But then if something didn't work out, like, okay, and there was a timeline issue, there was something that just didn't click, I'd go, woo, and I would step in and I would stop the dream.
Stop the dream.
I would stop the dream. The film would stop. Okay, and I go, no, we have to move this. We're going to change this. Okay,
You'd be the producer of your own,
and I'd restart
director of your own dream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is powerful.
And it was a big part of my life for a long time. And
that says a lot about you, Aaron.
But it stopped in my 20s.
Oh.
Yeah.
I believe, like, I love interpreting dreams. I absolutely love it. And right there is an illustration of who you are at your core.
Control freak?
At your, no, but you are a producer. You are a director. And, the fact that you're living that out in dreams, it's just showing your natural element. Sometimes it's not about negativity, like that's not always a negative thing that where you can take control, but that's powerful.
Very interesting that it stopped in your 20s.
Yes,
there was something that happened in your conscious mind that it felt like it wasn't able to do that anymore.
So I mean, I know a lot of people know my story in some ways, but I mean, I got married in my 20s, and I became a dad in my 20s, and then my life changed a lot. I mean, I went from being a professional rally driver, of having that kind of very
now I get it.
Yeah, you get it. But that was my world, like going fast, and that entire the energy of all that world was my world. Okay, and I lived fast.
Yep.
And then everything changed, and I had to become responsible and a dad and make sure that, you know, that the money was consistent and all those sort of things, right? And
no time to use the imagination.
No,
Yeah,
that's
you just
right.
had to stay in reality and just keep that
and you
keep
couldn't
that car
possibly
drive in that car.
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
not only that, but you kind of like control goes out the window anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point. I think that might be something.
Yeah, because with children and that, you just can't predict what's
no
going to
way.
happen
So
next.
interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and each child, you have 3 children. Like I had 3 very different children. You've got to treat them all differently.
Yeah.
You can try to be regimental,
No,
but I think
you
it
are
doesn't
so
always,
wrong. Okay, as a father who had
work.
several daughters are different to sons. So daughters, you must, in your head, when you give them a cuddle, you have to count in your head and make sure everybody gets the same amount of cuddles. Otherwise, the politics is incredible.
Oh my gosh.
The
2 seconds longer.
Boys do not care. No, 1 second. They're onto it.
But that's a lot of brain power. And this is the whole thing. And I think this is like what happens in adulthood where you have more responsibilities, keeps on, you know, packing on. And then what have we really got? Like, we don't really have much surplus of creativity and imagination. And I think that's the difference. Like when it comes into, because a lot of my clients come to me when they're burnt out, right?
Yeah.
They've exhausted everything that they've got in their
What a shame
mind.
we do that. Why do we wait till it's broken before we
that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Before it hits we hit the wall. It's just a fact, isn't it?
But a really interesting thing is like when NLP comes into it, it's like this idea of resetting that.
Yeah.
So whatever is happening, NLP gives you that capacity to shift what's taking up all of that space. So you can essentially, you can start again.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to hear more.
Okay, so when we sat on the chair together, as you know, the first question I asked is, what is it that you truly want? Now, you would know this as a counsellor. When people come in, whoever says, oh, I want to be rich, I want to have a great relationship, I want my whole world to be great. Nobody says that. Everybody says, I want to quit this addiction, I want to stop overeating, I want to, you know, get rid of this relationship. You know, they're always saying
all my bad habits. Go, right?
Yeah. People are talking about, you know, I want to stop the anxiety, I want to stop the sleeplessness or the exhaustion. They're talking about that. But the first question we asked you is, what is it that you want? Now, once you answered that, right, did you notice that when I asked you why you wanted, what you wanted, you answered with what you didn't want?
Ooh,
yes.
You caught her.
Yes.
I missed that completely.
And yes, she did. Yes. Okay. And I made a bit of fun of you, if you can remember, because, you know, I won't like break any confidentialities, but like when I have people come and sit in the chair, I don't want to be depressed anymore, I want to stop being exhausted. Got it. I got it. You want to be depressed and exhausted. That is not what I said. But I asked you what you wanted, not what you didn't want.
So true.
But see, this is what happens. This is the human nature. Yeah. So do you remember that you told me what you didn't want?
Yes.
Now, what you don't want, if we go deeper, is an element of, okay, you're fighting against that. Yeah. You don't want it. And the more you don't want it, the more you attract it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like it just keeps coming back to haunt you. But then because a part of the art is really being able to elicit with people what, you know, encourage them to say what they do want. So, okay, what will it feel when you do have that? So if you say, I want to be empowered, I want to have a great job, and I want to have a really good relationship, what's that going to feel like? Because it's the energy around it. And this is why we've got to be careful what we wish for, because if we say, I want that person over there, I want that particular man, or I want that particular woman, they may not align in reality, like we were talking backstage
They're
before.
often psychos. Yeah.
You know, they could be a psycho.
Yeah.
It could be
teasing.
imposter syndrome, but it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, that's a really a radical
But that comes back to
example.
judgment. That comes back to judgment.
Yeah.
Like you are judging that person. This is what we do. We are judgmental.
Yes.
The ego might want something very different to the soul.
Yeah.
That is incredibly true.
It is so true. And if you energetically want something, you might think you want that person, but the universe and the soul, as you say, knows whether that's an energetic match. So that's why it's really important to go, you know, like, what's that going to be like? What's that going to look like? What's that going to feel like? But then you've got two parts, haven't you?
Yeah, two truths.
You've got the reality of what is holding you back and what's sabotaging your actual relationship or whatever it is that you want.
Yep.
But then you've got the want and the desire for it. They both actually want the same thing. So that's where we integrate it. So the integration comes through logic, interestingly enough, and subconscious. Subconsciously, we are acting, this is the elements of our saboteur that's coming out of the subconscious. The logic is saying, but I want to be good. I want to be trim. I want to be rich. I want to, you know, I feel like I'm hearing that song in my head now, but, you know, I want this. Sure, that's logical, but talk to the hand, literally. Talk to the hand, because it's not an energetic match. So that's when you do talk to the hand. And that's all about, it's actually one of the hardest techniques to train, parts integration.
Yes. So we did a little bit of that.
We did a lot of it.
And the workshop was so powerful to realize these parts that we have. And they're both attainable, they're both accessible, but it's interesting that we go to the one that, you know, the pathway that we're so familiar with, even if it's, as Terry says, the longer route to go down, even if it's harder to get through and there's more detours and we still keep going to that one.
We still want the same thing.
True.
So we both want the same thing.
Yes, still wanting the same thing.
This one knows how to get there faster.
Exactly.
And we're not judging that one.
No.
That's the biggest thing. So you're almost representing and advocating. Like, I've had a lot of people say to me recently around me, very close by to me, saying, why do you do what you're doing? You know, like, you know, you should be an advocate, like an actual proper one, because of.
But you are a proper one.
But that is where.
Lousy language.
But in actual fact, I am advocating with the person's subconscious brain.
Okay.
So I advocate for the shadow.
So you get your people to talk to their people, but if they haven't got people,
it's negotiating, isn't it? Really, it's not about, you know, judging the shadow.
Yeah.
It's not about going, oh, you know, you're bad because you overeat or you drink too much alcohol or you, you know, you always choose the wrong relationships. It's not about that. It's about understanding the learning. I can hear something wanting to pop out of your mouth there.
So interesting. I was raised a Catholic.
Yeah.
My dad was rest in heaven. He's up there, but he was a Catholic and Mum wasn't. So my siblings and I went through schooling and went through our confirmation. But then when we kind of got out of school, we just went down our own paths, right? So I kind of went down more of a spirituality, Buddhism, a path.
Gotcha.
However, my mum, she loves Jesus and she's, very much connected to God and having faith. And she said to me today, she just said, it isn't about, it's not, being connected to this higher power, this higher spirituality that lives within us isn't about just being a good person and doing good things. It's about actually having a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And so in a similar way, it's like having this relationship with the shadow. It's like having a relationship where the shadow feels like this, this part of us. And in IFS, internal family systems, which is another one of the therapies I work with, we call it the exiles. So it's the part within us that's wounded, that wants to be seen, but doesn't know how
so it has been exiled.
It's been exiled, and then it moves into either like a managing position or it goes into a firefighting position. But the core self is what's in the middle, and so the building the relationship, and that's like what you're really saying there. It's like it's not about because the ego obviously wants to shut it down, suppress it, and like you just said, resisting that.
That's really good.
Keeps bringing it.
Because I'm hearing because I'm very hypervigilant.
Yes.
And that apparently comes from, part of my past and my history. And maybe I can work on that. But the fact is that the hypervigilance and all of that it's not actually a good thing but it serves a purpose. And we've got to look at what that purpose is to serve.
Yeah.
And I love how you've said that, because that's really typically in the line of counselling, and how it would be different in the NLP world is we would go back to the trauma. And you mentioned before about the timeline therapy and how that shifted things in moments.
Yeah.
Because the way our imagination positions things, so if you position everything on top of you and you've got, I've got all this stuff to do, and instead of being in the present, Eckhart Tolle, the Power of Now, that's a really good book, you're living in the future. And I was talking about this. My late husband was the most present, I say more present than Eckhart Tolle.
Wow.
And it used to drive me nuts. Yeah, it used to drive. It did, because it did.
I get it.
He was.
I don't.
He would slow me down all the time. He'd slow. You know, his favourite words were shway, shway.
Shway.
In Arabic,
Right.
that's slowly, because
wow,
I was like a bull in a china shop. So I'd be wanting to drag him into the future, and he'd be trying to bring me back.
Yeah.
He'd say, "Can I have a kiss?" I'm like, "No, not now." And he goes, "Well, how about now?"
Great answer.
That's present.
That's kind of how
conscious.
present he was.
That's so
what happens
aware.
is I'm living like my son, for example, and I gave this example. I quite often talk about this in workshops because, you know, timelining is really about bending time.
Yeah.
Because most of the problems we have in the world is around time and money.
Mm-hmm.
People haven't got enough of it.
Yeah, well, it's a balance. That's what we're always fighting for.
Yeah. So my stepson, for example, is like his father. So he lives inside of time. So my son, my biological son, is more like me. He's a destination person. So he's more, that's got to happen, and he's living in the future. Now, sometimes his brother will drive him nuts because he perceives him not to be on time enough or timely enough. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally get what you're saying.
But in actual fact, after studying the NLP timeline, I discovered something extremely interesting. My son, who seems like the vigilant one, one that's going to be on time and great with time, is actually not.
Is that right?
It's actually the stepson. He has a more of affinity with time, because when you are in, and you'd know this from rally driving, when you are in your space of time, in your zone of genius, you are there. You are behind the wheel.
I'll use this example, right? So in rallying, okay, motorsport, but particularly in rallying, it's a case of you're going very, very fast, obviously, and there's a lot of danger, yada, yada, yada. Everything is slow. If you're doing things properly, everything is slow.
Damn straight.
I am in that corner waiting for that apex, feeding in the power really, really slowly. Everything, I slow it all down. And you get into a world where everything else disappears. Just this becomes your world.
Yes.
The notes coming in from your co-driver. But the car disappears. Everything disappears. You just become one.
You become one.
You do. But the slowness is the difference.
Yes.
It's also what happens. Like I have a friend, he's a pilot, and he would say, their training would be, in the case of an emergency, you always count to 10. You give 10 seconds, even in and that present moment with whatever's crashing, whatever lights are going off, 10 seconds changes every bit of that cognitive
Did you guys
functioning.
watch the movie Flight? I know I've told this on one of ours before. It was an illicit drug, so wipe that out. But let's just pretend it was the subconscious brain and what Aaron said about bending time, being at one with the car. So you become the vehicle, you become the air you breathe, you become that real present tense. So they were going into an uncontrolled nosedive, and he'd done some stuff that expanded his brain.
Okay.
So he bought time. So he was able to flip the plane and have the presence of mind to turn it upside down and land it. So that the way it was done, very sophisticatedly, only a person in complete presence could do that.
I have a little saying, again, there are many sayings I live by, but in radio, you can get a lot done in 13 seconds.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
People panic and you look at that and you see the time clicking down, you think, I've got to do that.
Yeah.
Guess what?
No.
It's an absolute breeze.
Yeah.
I
Okay?
get you now.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
get you
Yep.
now.
But it's that focused, it's
Mm.
that level of focus. And I
Yeah.
think that's like really a huge thing with NLP that I'm so interested in, even understanding on that deeper level, that it gives you that in present moment focus
yes.
that we
So
don't get,
Mm.
especially now with how much
Oh, man.
is happening in a day,
Yeah.
how much how
Yes.
time is moving
Yeah.
the way it is now.
So you'll get this. Our viewers may not, listeners.
Hang with us. Come on.
Hang
you
in
can do
with
it.
us.
Yeah.
But because I asked you
Yes.
to allocate your timeline, you were able to discern by my questions that the way you were doing time is your past was over to your left and your future was over to your right. But it was kind of a semicircle. So it was telling me that you were slightly blocked. So when you shifted it so that it's like the hands of a clock,
Yeah.
you're kind of shifting it so you're putting, and you made the decision, by the way. I said, let's just try it out
Yes.
Okay.
and play with it. And we put the past in the past, click, locked it in, and brought the future into the future, locked that in, and you went, oh, that feels so much better. Right?
There you go. Yeah. So what do you think it is, Terry, that stops? Why haven't we, just as a species, in this evolution where we are now, why haven't we learnt these skills? Why aren't we doing this?
Don't ask Terry this question. Ask me.
$64 million question.
Yeah,
It's
sorry,
just-
you go on up.
No,
Tom.
you
I mean,
go.
I'm
You go
teasing.
first. No,
I actually don't think that we're evolving. I think we're devolving.
Yeah.
I really do.
Devolving.
I think we are going backwards.
Seriously,
Like
yes.
you said about the information before, right? So, okay. So 200 years ago, actually less than that, 200, we'll call it 180 years ago, the entire information that a person would take in their daily life, in their entire life, would fit on 2 pages of the newspaper. All right? That's everything. All the skills they needed, everything for their everyday life. Look at our lives. Look at information. Bang, 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 bang. Here it comes. Now, okay, in 180 odd years, 200 years, has the brain evolved? No, it hasn't. It's the exact same thing. So I think in a lot of ways, us trying to process that much information, I think in a lot of ways we've gone the cheat code, we've gone the lazy code, we've gone, hey, we live in a world, hey, AI will do it. Oh, and we do that with so much of our, and I think a lot of, I'll use AI as the example here. I think we AI a lot of our relationships. I think we autopilot, for want of a better word, right? Yeah, we don't actually think and slow it down and think about it.
And it can be definitely misused. And I think if people are out there using AI for their intellectual intelligence, they're going to be in for a rude shock, because AI, it's input.
Yeah, good. It's what you put into it.
You put in, that's what you get out. But when you get all of this fake stuff, but I digress. And one of my biggest clients that came into workshops for training in practitioners were school teachers.
There you go.
So we'll come back to your question. They recognised that if students could learn how to learn. So we know that the brain, for example, and this is something you will learn on the foundation on the ground, is based on the 6 senses. But the 3 main senses are visual, which is what you see, hearing, what you hear, and kinesthetic, what you feel. So based on those 3, people learn differently. So you might get a child in a classroom that will be very good when the teacher is standing up, pacing up and down the room, writing on the whiteboard. They'll see that, they'll learn their visual. Then you'll get a child in the class who's audio. So they need to hear more than they see. You've lost them. And then you've got the child that's kinesthetic. They need hands-on and so usually people cross over. So for example, I am visual and kinesthetic. Okay. So in my way of learning, I will learn better by looking. And that's why when I'm doing radio, it's like, okay, I need to see what you're doing, and I like to watch. And then I like to do it at the same time so I like to practice it. So if I'm practicing and I'm seeing, and so many kids, they will fall behind in the classroom, and so many kids, and we know this, are suffering, and there's so many teenagers that are suiciding. And if parents, teachers, and everyone answering your question knew this, if this was taught in schools, I believe, and I say this very biasedly, we would be in a very different world.
Well, have some bias. It's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to jump to another question, if we may.
Yes.
So let's bring her up on the old screen. Is it common that after I did an NLP workshop that I sensed a shift in how people treated me?
I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
Can you relate to that? You don't have to be
Yes.
specific if you don't want to for privacy reasons,
No.
but can you relate to that?
I can absolutely relate to that.
Okay.
And I was almost going to call you, Terry, and just
I'm used to that.
explain directly after the workshop what happened, which was really interesting because we always have an option as to how we handle those interactions. And, I think there's always taking a higher moral ground when you are presented with something negative.
Yeah.
But what it actually brought out in me was more of an assertive, honest response. And so
Fantastic.
what that was about was like I felt like after the workshop I had this level of confidence and this level of being in the present. It cleared up a lot of space, and just I was able to, sometimes I've noticed in the past I wear the rose-colored lenses and kind of see what I want to see, which is maybe the best of every situation.
We all do that a
Sometimes.
bit.
So they were just off.
Right.
I felt like they came off, and they're still off, which is quite
incredible.
interesting.
Yeah. Look, what you're saying is exactly what a few of the other people have said.
Yeah.
One lady said, "Oh my gosh, Terry, it's like my voice is coming out.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
speaking. I'm speaking my truth." And she works fly in, fly out, and she is a leader.
Yeah.
And she said the whole crew treated me differently.
Right.
But did they go to your workshop too? And I went, no. Like that was a joke, but I have been asked that.
Question though, okay, did they treat her differently, or was the perception different? Is it?
That's a beautiful question.
Really,
wow,
really
that is
interesting.
brilliant.
I have these thoughts
You know
occasionally.
what? No,
Yes.
he's a bright cookie, this one. Do you know what? That is so good. I'm going to have to really, really study that because, my late husband said once that, he had sent one of his patients to see me, and when she'd done the work with me, she went back to him to have a treatment, and he said it was like there was a different girl on the table. Her body had changed.
Yeah.
So her whole nervous system had shifted. And she said, did my mum and sister come in and do the course with Terry? And it's because it's energetic. I don't know the answer. I think what you've said is brilliant because it kind of alludes to the fact that it's perception.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you see things in a different perception, it does change and shift the way you feel. Because that's what the art of NLP is. So I think you've got a good point.
So with that then, because, our perception, like what I was mentioning with the rose-colored lenses and what that might then mean in terms of how I or how I relate to the world. If I've got these tinted glasses on, my perception will be skewed. So when they're off and I'm in that space of just reality as it is, it's still a perception that I'm experiencing of the reality. I don't think I could say, no, it's reality because we're all having our own unique experience.
Yeah.
But with NLP, once we realize, okay, so this is also actually with DBT, it also helps you experience one of the foundations of it is experiencing reality as it is, not the reality that we want to see. So NLP and DBT together, I think, is a very, very powerful combo of therapy. But
this girl's going to be unstoppable.
Look out.
But what I want to know is, like, when you then are in this state of consciousness, this pure consciousness, because you've shifted everything behind you.
Yeah.
Is it then
that's a good point
about realizing the capacity to essentially shift that perception to wherever you want to take it. So it is what it is, that
I feel
it
like
is what
you've
it
answered
is.
your own question, I'll be honest, because you said something interesting at the beginning, which was you had more space to kind of consider things because you'd shifted a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And when you're shifting timelines, when you're getting rid of baggage, it's like having a huge room full of junk and you can't move. You can't move in that room. You pull everything out of that room, you've got space. So you've given yourself space to think. And that does change so much. And I believe that what we're dealing with, predominantly with NLP is triggers. So I know you wanted to touch on the anchors and the triggers, but just so I can cover that for time's sake, when we, how we do the anchoring in NLP, so we get you to think of something great, a memory, and then you anchor it. You put that into your body. Now, why do we do that? Because when we experience good things and great things and exciting things, guess what? We're relaxed. Our body feels good.
It is true.
Our body is kind of, like in that
flow state,
just slow state. But what happens when we're angry or when we get a fright or if we're in trauma or anxiety, we go like that, okay? And when something happens, that locks it in. So we are constantly anchoring in negativity, but we're not anchoring in positivity.
Okay.
So by overriding, if you like, the system, what you're doing is you're setting up anchors so that your body can remember, because your body will always keep the score. However, in saying that, it is really important, coming back to what your mum said as well. My mum is also a very strong Christian. She hates the word hypnosis. So she's always saying, can you come up with something else? So when we talk about subconscious, and I hear what your mum says, I was doing some, work with mum this morning, and I referred to it as God consciousness. So it is the above, because it's not, this is the other thing. We do not become the gurus. Anthony Robbins actually created a seminar, and it was, I am not your guru.
Right.
And so that is because it cannot be human. It's not done on a human level. I cannot make a person be healed. They've got to heal themselves. And it's just about removing and releasing, because most of the backaches, the disease, and the health issues that we have is coming from a thought that began as a thought and has manifested and then become disease in the body.
You can create an environment where it is easier for people to heal in, right? So you can't fix them.
Yeah.
You can just create an environment and they have to do the work.
Yeah, that's the person environment fit theory.
Okay.
So it's literally a really incredible thing to realize that when we thrive, it's usually to do with where we've placed ourselves. And that the difference, from being in a community or an environment that's invalidating, that's, where you have to suppress your emotions, your identity, compared to being somewhere, where you can actually be yourself and you can explore. It's a game changer.
You surround yourself with incredibly positive people, right? And people have their ups and downs. But you are absolutely, I don't know, the key in my mind is to success and happiness, I guess, is to surround myself with really great people, with really good energy. Because then you, I don't know, it's
influential.
You really are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with.
I was going there.
There you go. But with Terry, just with NLP and essentially, it is with the visualization and going to those strongest parts of ourselves when we're anchoring, through our best memories and we're visualizing those states in those environments. That is basically that person environment fit theory, right? It's being in those moments of time where everything works, everything flows, everything's just, and there's a trust and there's this movement to it. And I think that's the powerful thing. If we are, just full of yesterday, last night,
Oh, yeah.
the past, Christmas, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We can't visualize. We can't get to those places. We can't even imagine that they're a possibility. But I think that's the thing. They really are. And it's just a matter of knowing how you access that part, and then how it ends up kind of also you become magnetized to it. It's not about the attachment. I have to have this and then I'll be okay. It's like there's something in trusting
conditions.
that's where what you can have and trusting in that
you just hit the word though.
Is possible.
Trusting.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the difficult bit. It really is.
Yeah.
Trusting. And like many years ago, I had a friend who used to do everything he did was irresponsible. Everything. Okay. And he just goes,
was that a judgment?
Yeah, totally. Okay. He had every substance known to man in his body at all times. He didn't pay his bills. He was terrible. Okay. Great guy. Beautiful heart. But gee, wow. Just shocking. And I'd say, mate, you've got to pay your bills. He goes, the universe will provide. And like,
the universe
did provide. Yes.
It did.
Always.
See? What?
Like,
so the universe did provide.
Yes, it did.
Come on.
It's just in most ridiculous ways. So go on.
Just on that note, so I am obsessed with a audiobook. It's a book by Florence Scovel Shinn. So she's the author of
The Game of Life,
and How to Play It.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she wrote that in 1925. So it's an old book, but it's literally the power of visualization and trust that everything will work out. But it's also about this imaging faculty, which is essentially, if we have an imaging faculty, which is what Terry does with NLP, that's the concept of setting it up so it operates for you. That's in alignment with you.
Yes.
You're already creating that. That's already being manifested. And that's essentially the game of life. Uses these types of analogies to just keep on integrating those messages that it's happening on a subliminal level. Like it's already happening. You've just got to be willing.
Have you come across the chapter where she talks about the universe doesn't know the difference between reality and a joke?
Oh, so yes.
And look, don't get me started on this. I won't go into how my poor beloved late husband suffered a lot of his own jokes. But, the person who recommended me to that book picked it up and said, he's constantly telling jokes and saying these things. He doesn't realise that the universe doesn't realise it's a joke.
So it's a self-fulfilling
and some of those
prophecy.
jokes, I mean, they were funny. They were very, very hilarious. But
deprecating.
But then he manifested it. It does actually become a manifestation. So what you say, and you say it enough, you think of it enough, you feel it enough, you'll be it.
Yeah.
Well, comedians must be very depressed right now, but I'll go down that world. Okay, I've been in the stand-up world. Okay, and
you a stand-up comedian?
I've done stand-up comedy. Yeah.
But you're sitting down.
I know. Do it comfortably.
Okay,
right?
can you do
Come
it
on,
now?
right? Just kick the feet back. You'll be right. But you get into a green room with a bunch of stand-up comics. It is the most depressing place on earth.
Is that right?
It is the great home of emotional damage,
and neglect.
of mental issues. My God.
Serious?
Yeah. Like some people will do things like the most, I mean, to me, I saw a guy literally stood in the corner, put his face to the corner, and he's kind of just talking to himself beforehand, and he's fallen to bits. And then he go onto the stage, and it is all about validation. So stand-up comedians, generally speaking, I can't speak for all of them, but from my experience, they've really got a lot of hurt.
Did you ever see Baby Reindeer?
No.
It's a really good series about a comedian from the UK and someone
Send
who
me a link,
I'm going to have to. No, there's a really big twist, but he, because of all of that validation that he speaks about through this show, attracts a stalker.
Right.
And she harasses him, but it's because of this need to be liked and this need to be approved even by this, very
mentally ill person who,
just like it just, I can't wait to see. I'm going to send you the link, but
I'll have
Baby
to watch
Reindeer.
that too.
No,
very
literally,
interesting.
my experience has been basically the people going out there. It's like, please like me, please like me, please like me. That's what the 5 minutes on stage or 20 minutes or whatever.
Clowns are actually there's a very sad thing.
Clowns are evil.
And also,
Joker.
one of your favorite actors was also very sad.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
you're going to
Robin
go
Williams.
Robin Williams, who I
Okay.
absolutely adored.
Yeah.
You know, that's
So
the
there
most beautiful
was-
energy of a human
yeah,
being. Full stop.
yeah.
And
But
the
he
whole
was
thing was about
sad.
tragedy.
Yeah.
And yet he always, and you know, this is the ironic element of human nature, is that the genius zone and the strength is actually the weakness.
Mhm.
So quite often they are very good at something, but actually they also have that suffering themselves. And that's what brings it all together. And that's what creates the passion, the passion, the purpose, and everything else.
Yeah. Well, in that world, it's very much a case of they don't want people to feel the pain that they feel.
Yeah.
So that's why they work so hard on portraying an image and bringing love and laughter and all that sort of thing. So, yeah.
It's pretty deep.
It is.
Yep.
We went deep.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
We did.
Oh, lay
We
on the
always-
couch.
we
Or maybe I
always
will.
do.
Yeah, this does become a session for me every week.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love it. We're going to have to debrief after this.
Yeah,
I know, right? So have we got time for one last question?
There is one
Did you
last
have
question,
anything?
I decided let's run a little longer.
Yep.
Why not? Can't hurt anyone. Now, the news can wait.
The
Right?
news
Yeah,
can
wait.
Awful.
There we go. What is the master key?
What is
I would
the master
love
key?
to know more about the
All
master
right.
key.
So the master key, when you think of a master key, what do you think of? Something that can unlock a few things, not just one.
Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely, yeah.
So after dealing with in clinic, I think when we sold clinic in 2017, I did a count and it was about 6,850 one-on-one consultations that I'd done.
Okay.
And in all of those consultations, I was able to, I guess, decipher that people were either really requiring better health because people would come because they wanted to obviously drop excess kilos. Being a hypnotherapist, they would release it through their brain. That was the first master key, health, billion-dollar energy. Number two, people had trauma that came from past relationships. And pretty much everything came from that. So key
I'm
number
right
two,
here, okay? Come on.
Key number two is, practicing rich relationships. Because what we want is we want to go, I'm not a relationship, that's not my niche. And I choose not to make weight management my niche either because that's just not where I'm at. But that's predominantly what we're trained at in clinical hypnosis. So you've got those two elements. So that's the first two keys. The third one is prosperity. Okay. People usually want to know, what is it, that is going to change in my prosperity. Prosperity is spiritual. So it's more around your self-esteem, your self-worth, the way you view yourself. Because if a person is giving away their services or they're giving away things, that is a people-pleasing tactic. And that's because there's a basic thing within them and all of us, because we all suffer from this, where they're giving away their prosperity because, at their own expense. So that's spiritual prosperity. Number 4 is the genius zone.
Yes.
Each
and every one of us really need to know our purpose. I believe that.
Agreed.
If you know what you're here to do and you are doing it, that is when you're in your, your space of being totally at one with yourself, like you were in the rally car, right? Yeah. So when a person's in their zone of genius, you'll know because they become really magnetic. They become really present. And number 5, it's legacy. And the legacy is really about going back and healing ancestral lineage and the patterns and all of those elements so that you are creating a legacy for the future generations going forward. So the master key unlocks all of those elements, and they're the 5 master keys.
Have you got one?
All of them.
Oh no, I'm definitely wanting to strengther all of them. They all, you can see how they all interweave together as well.
Yes.
With the prosperity.
Yes, I saw your eyes light up.
Yes. Can you tell me?
It's a big one. It's actually one of my most hugest programs. Whenever I run it, it's the one that attracts so many people. Cool. I think it's because it's the word prosperity.
Yes.
Yeah.
What would you like to know in terms of that?
Just in how, because you were mentioning it just around, giving it away.
Yes.
and that being a very common thing that we
It
do.
is.
It reminds me of that quote, "Don't cast your pearls at swine," which is that Bible with a biblical, biblical. But
I like it.
Oh, we Catholic school too.
Jordan
My mum will
Peterson,
like this, yeah.
Jordan
Yeah, yeah.
Peterson was using it in terms of we give so much away,
That's
and we
right.
give it away, and it gets taken advantage of.
And that's
I've
right. And
more than prayed to that myself.
That's where we come unstuck.
And that's where we come stuck. So is it around internal boundaries and around how to preserve that energy?
It's because we don't feel that there's a people pleasing trap within us that we think if we charge too much or if we don't, then that's going to take away from them and I'm not going to be liked.
Yes.
So what they're actually doing is they're not only robbing from themselves, but they're robbing from the other person because they're not showcasing that full prosperity of what makes the world go round. Because money is not about being greedy, or it's not about money. It's about being able to give, and you can't give out of an empty cup.
I'm going to disagree, because you're talking from your perspective that giving money. Well, sorry, that money,
you have to give money away. Yes,
no,
give
but
charity.
But a lot. No, I don't mean it that way.
Yeah,
some people do see money as just like literally it's just about power, right?
Yeah,
okay?
God.
Power and control, and it's a guide to them.
Yes.
Okay, people who genuinely care about others, who are empathetic. Then they're the ones that are more open with their souls when it comes to money. So, you know, we each their own. Each their own. Space
Absolutely. For us all. And it's finding that it's making it so that it's not about making money your God, because that's not what prosperity is. Prosperity is around being healthy and having that real, genuine, ability to know that you are worth it. You've got something within you that is expansive, and that's prosperity. It's not about being greedy.
But it's interesting because like the concept of kind of containing that and being prosperous, it's like a contradiction.
Yeah.
So learning the skills to be able to harness that, which is essentially what you're saying, then allows you to give it, like share
it away. You can be more giving,
but it's
as
like
a
intact,
result.
isn't it? It's like this intact ability to harness it and to be it and withhold that currency and to be able to then share it. So I'd love to know more.
And you will probably get access to this Prosperity Codes program because there's so much, most of everything. It sounds like it's about money and prosperity around wealth, but it's actually around yourself. So it's actually about working on yourself, working on your self-worth, and that you are worth something and you deserve, to be prosperous.
Yeah, amazing.
And I think we all agree on that.
Oh, definitely.
Prosperous. We that's something that we all should see as a goal.
100%.
Yeah, we really should.
We are living in a world of being in this scarcity mindset. I don't have enough. I need more fuel, more this, more toilet paper, probably again. Whatever it is, it's just like we're stock up, prep, get ready for the
2 rolls.
Push the prices up more by stocking up.
So, if we can just kind of scrap that and just, consciously act from awareness and from that place of what it is. It's like it's a mindset, isn't it, of prosperity. It doesn't mean we can't still, and I don't know, we don't need to be as heavily dependent on or reliant on the universe as your friend.
No.
To pay the bills.
Long term didn't work for him.
No. So there's probably something in the middle, right? Where it's just like it's going to work out. Yeah. It's going to work out, and that's that.
Maybe it was
trusting.
Faith. Maybe he believed it so much that the universe would provide that it was in that trust and that faith that he attracted it.
I don't think George Michael's involved. We have hit the end of the show. Well and truly. I'll tell you right now, this has been a really fascinating conversation.
Yes,
you've got to come back.
I would love to come back.
And she will be. She will be.
Okay, we'll change numbers out front. You'll never find us.
And we'll be launching Eloise's program.
Very, very cool indeed.
Very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, it is absolutely exciting.
And
be excited about it. And you know what? Allow yourself to be excited about it.
Yes.
Something I've been doing, I better be very quickly about this. I have stopped myself from being happy and excited about things. What an idiot. Like, honestly, okay? Wonderful things happening in my life. God damn it, I'm going to embrace it.
Absolutely.
Just get on board.
You deserve it.
That's so much more magnetizing, isn't it, than being cautious to have that experience. Like if anything's going to take away, it's the latter, right?
That's
the
right.
one that's like, no.
Yeah.
So if you're just like, no, I'm owning it.
Own it, yeah.
Own it.
And on that bombshell, like, subscribe, share this with other people if you feel you've got something from it. And look, if you've been here with us for an hour, let's face it, you must have got something. We would love to be interactive. I do notice on some of the other platforms that we've had questions come through, which we cannot see. Great. Like, we'll talk to you during the week. That's probably the best bit.
Let's do that.
As far as if you want to get your questions on air, the best way to go is on YouTube as we go. And we can bring them up on the screen, away we go. And we'll do that for next time. So thank you very much for being part of the Genius Zone here on Edge Radio Australia.